Chapter 2. I do not believe it would be possible to find any joy comparable to that of a soul in purgatory, except the joy of the blessed in paradise, a joy which goes on increasing day by day, as God more and more flows in upon the soul, which he does abundantly in proportion as every hindrance to his entrance is consumed away. The hindrance is the rust of sin. The fire consumes the rust, and thus the soul goes on laying itself open to the divine inflowing. It is as with a covered object. The object cannot respond to the rays of the sun, not because the sun ceases to shine, for it shines without intermission, but because the covering intervenes. Let the covering be destroyed. Again the object will be exposed to the sun, and will answer to the rays which beat against it in proportion as the work of destruction advances. Thus the souls are covered by a rust, that is, sin, which is gradually consumed away by the fire of purgatory. The more it is consumed, the more they respond to God their true Son. Their happiness increases as the rust falls off, and lays them open to the divine ray, and so their happiness grows greater as the impediment grows less, till the time is accomplished. The pain, however, does not diminish, but only the time of remaining in that pain. As far as their will is concerned, these souls cannot acknowledge the pain as such. So completely are they satisfied with ordinance of God, so entirely is their will one with it in pure charity. On the other hand, they suffer a torment so extreme, that no tongue could describe it, no intellect could form the least idea of it, if God had not made it known by special grace. Which idea, however, God's grace has shown my soul, but I cannot find words to express it with my tongue, yet the sight of it has never left my mind. I will describe it as I can. They will understand it, whose intellect the Lord shall vouchsafe to open. Chapter 3. All the pains of purgatory take their rise from sin, original or actual. God created the soul perfectly pure and free from every spot of sin, with a certain instinctive tendency to find its blessedness in him. From this tendency it is drawn away by original sin, and still more by the addition of actual sin, and the farther off it gets, the more wicked it becomes, because it is less in conformity with God. Things are good only so far as they participate in God. To irrational creatures, God communicates himself without fail, as he wills and as he has determined. To the rational soul more or less, according as he finds it purified from the impediment of sin, so that when a soul is approaching to that state of first purity and innocence, which it had when created, the instinctive desire of seeking happiness in God develops itself, and goes on increasing through the fire of love, which draws it to its end with such impetuosity and vehemence, that any obstacle seems intolerable, and the more clear its vision, the more extreme its pain. Now because the souls in purgatory are without the guilt of sin, there is nothing to stand between God and them, except the punishment which keeps them back, and prevents this instinct from attaining its perfection, and from their keenly perceiving of what moment it is to be hindered, even in the least degree. And yet that justice most strictly demands a hindrance. There springs up within them a fire like that of hell. They have not the guilt of sin, and it is this latter which constitutes the malignant will of the damned, who are excluded from sharing in the goodness of God, and therefore remain in that hopeless malignity of will, by which they oppose the will of God.